Whether it's the bloodthirsty monsters that lurk in the shadows, the twisted minds of serial killers, or the bone-chilling scenarios of people being buried alive, the annals of history are stained with true tales of terror that defy even the darkest imaginations. Let's plunge into the abyss and uncover some of history's most haunting real-life horror stories. In the quiet city of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, Anatoly Moskvin led a seemingly ordinary life as a linguist, scholar, and author. However, beneath the facade of normalcy lurked a chilling secret that would shock the nation and the world. Anatoly Moskvin, a man of intellect and mystery, had amassed a gruesome collection, one that defied the boundaries of horror and left a lasting scar on the collective consciousness. Born on September 1, 1966, exhibited an early fascination with the macabre. As a linguist and philologist, he delved into the realms of cemeteries, epitaphs, and the esoteric. Renowned for his expertise in Celtic history and folklore, Moskvin earned respect within academic circles for his contributions to linguistic studies and publications on burial rituals. In 2011, the city of Nizhny Novgorod was thrust into the spotlight for a reason no one could have foreseen. Authorities made a shocking discovery within Moskvin's home, a collection that defied comprehension. Nestled in various corners of his residence were life-size dolls, meticulously dressed and eerily lifelike. These were not ordinary dolls. They were mummified corpses of young girls. As investigators combed through Moskvin's home, the extent of his unsettling collection became apparent. The dolls, ranging in number, were posed in lifelike positions, some seated at desks, others standing or lying down. Each doll bore the unmistakable features of young girls, their expressions frozen in perpetuity. The clothes adorning the figures were not random. They were outfits Moskvin had collected from cemeteries. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that Moskvin's motives extended beyond the realm of eccentricity. He had meticulously preserved the bodies of deceased girls, transforming them into his own morbid interpretation of companionship. Reports suggested that Moskvin had carefully researched and selected graves, targeting the resting places of deceased girls between the ages of 3 and 12. Moskvin's process of mummification was as disturbing as the collection itself. Using a combination of salt and baking soda, he carefully dried the bodies, preserving them for an eternity. The faces of the dolls were adorned with wax masks, meticulously crafted to capture the visage of the deceased. To complete the illusion, Moskvin inserted music boxes within some dolls, creating a haunting ambiance that permeated his macabre menagerie. As investigators sought to unravel the motive behind Moskvin's ghastly pursuits, a complex tapestry of psychological aberrations emerged. Moskvin, it seemed, was driven by an obsessive desire to defy death and isolation. Struggling with profound loneliness, he believed that by transforming deceased girls into dolls, he could forge a twisted form of companionship that transcended the confines of mortality. The revelation of Moskvin's collection sent shockwaves through Russia and beyond. Arrested in 2011, he faced charges of desecration of graves and dead bodies. His actions, deemed abhorrent by society, posed an unprecedented legal challenge. The case raised questions about the intersection of mental health, criminal intent, and the preservation of human remains. In 2012, Moskvin underwent psychiatric evaluation, leading to a determination that he suffered from a form of paranoid schizophrenia. The legal system faced a conundrum: how to balance justice with mental health considerations. Despite the enormity of his actions, Moskvin's mental state presented a perplexing challenge for those tasked with delivering a verdict. In February 2019, a subsequent psychiatric evaluation found that it was too early to release Moskvin, and the hospital withdrew their petition. The haunting dolls created by Moskvin serve as a testament to the darkness that can lurk within even the most unassuming corners of society, a chilling reminder that the line between brilliance and madness is often razor thin. In the realm of true crime, few stories send shivers down the spine like that of John Evander Cooey, a man whose heinous actions exposed the darkest corners of human depravity. From a seemingly mundane existence to the heart of one of America's most horrifying crimes, Cooey's story is a chilling reminder that monsters can hide in plain sight. Born on September 19, 1958 in Georgia, John Evander Cooey presented an unremarkable facade to the world. With a troubled childhood marked by a series of arrests for crimes ranging from burglary to sexual assault, Cui's sinister inclinations were apparent early on. Yet he managed to blend into society, making it difficult for those around him to fathom the darkness that lurked within. The quiet town of Homosassa, Florida, would become the stage for a nightmare that unfolded in 2005. 9-year-old Jessica Lunsford, an innocent child with dreams of becoming a veterinarian, vanished from her home in the dead of night. The tight-knit community was thrust into a state of panic as the search for the missing girl intensified. As investigators combed through the town for clues, they stumbled upon a horrifying revelation. John Evander Cui, a convicted sex offender, had been living near the Lunsford residence. With this revelation, the facade of normalcy that Cui had carefully crafted began to crumble. The investigation led authorities to a trailer where Cui had been staying. It was within the confines of this seemingly ordinary residence that the unimaginable horrors unfolded. Hidden within a closet, investigators discovered a makeshift dungeon, a small, soundproof room where Jessica had been held captive. The grim reality emerged. Jessica Lunsford had endured unthinkable torment at the hands of Cui. In 2007, Cui faced trial for the abduction, sexual assault, and murder of Jessica Lunsford. The prosecution painted a harrowing picture of the final hours of Jessica's life, detailing the unspeakable acts committed by Cui. Despite attempts by the defense to argue mental incompetence, Cui ultimately confessed to the crime. The details of his confession sent shockwaves through the courtroom, leaving those present haunted by the depths of his depravity. John Evander Cui was found guilty and sentenced to death. However, the wheels of justice turned slowly, and Cui's execution did not come swiftly. He succumbed to cancer in prison on September 30, 2009, evading the ultimate punishment for his monstrous acts. The horrifying legacy of Cui's crimes left an indelible mark on the community and the nation, sparking debates about the effectiveness of sex offender registries and the need for more stringent measures to protect society's most vulnerable. The story of John Evander Cui stands as a chilling testament to the capacity for evil that can lurk within seemingly ordinary individuals. Jessica Lunsford's tragic fate serves as a stark reminder that monsters can wear human faces and that the veneer of normalcy can conceal unspeakable horrors. The horrifying saga of Cui's crimes forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that the most terrifying tales are not confined to the realm of fiction, but unfold in the harsh light of reality. Kermit Baron Gosnell, born on February 9, 1941, started his career as a respected physician. Operating the Women's Medical Society in West Philadelphia, Gosnell presented himself as a champion of women's reproductive rights. However, beneath this facade, a sinister reality was unfolding, one that would eventually expose him as a purveyor of unimaginable cruelty. Gosnell's clinic, initially established to provide abortion services, devolved into a squalid den of horror. The conditions inside the Women's Medical Society were deplorable, with untrained staff performing medical procedures, unsanitary instruments, and a complete disregard for the well-being of patients. The clinic earned its infamous moniker, the House of Horrors. As investigations into Gosnell's clinic unfolded, a grotesque tapestry of criminality emerged. Gosnell was not only performing illegal late-term abortions, but was also responsible for the deaths of infants born alive during the procedures. His method, described as snipping, involved severing the spinal cords of viable babies, a practice that horrified even those familiar with the abortion debate. The most alarming aspect of Gosnell's crimes was the failure of oversight by regulatory authorities. Reports indicate that various agencies responsible for monitoring healthcare facilities had neglected their duties, allowing Gosnell's atrocities to persist for years. This raised profound questions about the systemic failures that enabled such horrors to unfold unchecked. In 2011, Gosnell faced trial on multiple charges, including first-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. As the trial unfolded, a macabre picture emerged: a clinic where fetal remains were stored in unsanitary conditions, where untrained staff administered medications, and where women's lives were put at risk daily. The courtroom was a stage for the gruesome details of Gosnell's crimes, leaving jurors and spectators alike in shock. In May 2013, Gosnell was convicted of multiple counts, including 3 counts of first-degree murder, for the deaths of infants born alive. He was also found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the death of a patient, Karnamaya Mongar, who died from a drug overdose during an abortion procedure. The court sentenced Gosnell to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Gosnell case reignited debates surrounding abortion rights, clinic regulations, and the ethical considerations of late-term procedures. Proponents of stricter abortion regulations pointed to Gosnell's clinic as evidence of the potential dangers of lax oversight, while abortion rights advocates stressed the importance of distinguishing Gosnell's criminal practices from legal and safe abortion procedures. Kermit Gosnell's legacy is a somber reminder of the complexities surrounding reproductive rights, healthcare oversight, and ethical medical practices. His crimes exposed a regulatory vacuum that allowed atrocities to persist, prompting calls for reform and stricter enforcement of healthcare standards. The Gosnell case stands as a dark chapter in the history of medical malfeasance, forcing society to confront uncomfortable truths about the intersections of law, morality, and healthcare. In the vast, arid expanse of New Mexico, a realm known for its desolate landscapes, one man orchestrated a reign of terror that would shock the nation. David Parker Ray, infamously dubbed the Toy Box Killer, constructed a chamber of horrors where he would subject his victims to unspeakable acts of sadism and brutality. This is the chilling tale of a man whose depravity knew no bounds. David Parker Ray was born on November 6, 1939, in Belen, New Mexico. To the outside world, he appeared to be an unassuming individual. However, beneath this facade, Ray harbored dark desires and a sinister plan to create a torture chamber that would become the stuff of nightmares. Ray's Chamber of Horrors, ominously named the Toy Box, was a 24-foot-long mobile home situated on his property near Elephant Butte Lake. Inside this unassuming structure, Ray had meticulously designed a torture chamber equipped with a gynecological chair, soundproof walls, and an array of sadistic tools. It was a place where nightmares materialized. Ray's modus operandi involved abducting women, often luring them with promises of employment or using more sinister methods. Once inside the toy box, the victims would awaken to a nightmare, finding themselves restrained and at the mercy of a sadistic puppet master. Perhaps one of the most horrifying aspects of David Parker Ray's crimes was his use of audio tapes. Before his victims regained consciousness, they would be subjected to the sound of Ray detailing the atrocities that awaited them. These tapes served as a prelude to the unimaginable horrors that would unfold within the confines of the toy box. Ray's sadistic acts knew no bounds. Victims were subjected to unspeakable forms of physical and psychological torture. He reveled in inflicting pain and terror, often using his background as an electrician to engineer devices that would amplify the horror of the experience. Despite the nightmarish conditions within the toy box, some victims managed to escape the clutches of David Parker Ray. Their testimonies would later serve as crucial evidence in unveiling the extent of Ray's atrocities. These survivors, haunted by the trauma they endured, became voices against the horrors inflicted upon them. In 1999, Ray's dark empire began to unravel when one of his victims, Cynthia Vigil, managed to escape. Law enforcement, led by the New Mexico State Police and the FBI, launched an intensive investigation into Ray's activities. As they delved into the horrors of the toy box, they uncovered a trove of evidence that painted a nightmarish portrait of sadism and malevolence. In 2001, David Parker Ray, along with his accomplices, Cynthia's captors, Cindy Hendy and Roy Yancey, faced trial. The court heard harrowing testimonies from survivors, detailing the unimaginable horrors they endured within the confines of the toy box. Ray was sentenced to 223 years in prison, without the possibility of parole, ensuring that he would never again unleash his sadistic desires on the world. David Parker Ray's reign of terror left an indelible mark on the landscape of true crime. His case exposed the darkest corners of human depravity and the depths to which some are willing to sink in their pursuit of sadistic pleasure. The legacy of horror left by the Toy Box Killer serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of human safety and the perpetual need for vigilance against those who seek to exploit and harm.